In this edition of The Great Game, dear viewer, I'm going to take you to the Kumbh, which is taking place at Prayagraj or Allahabad. It is not just an ordinary Kumbh, but a Mahakumbh, which comes once in 144 years. I'm also going to take you to Delhi, where the battle for Delhi is being fought between Arvind Kejriwal's Aam Aadmi Party and the BJP. We all know that the elections are going to take place in Delhi on the 5th of February. Incidentally, on that day, Prime Minister Modi is also going to the Kumbh, to the Sangam, to take a dubki, a dip in the holy waters where the Ganga, Yamuna and the mythical Saraswati meet. But I'm going to start this column from, this video column from Chandigarh, where I am right now. I'm Jyoti Malhotra with the Tribune newspaper, and my column, The Great Game, as you all know, or some of you may know, comes out on Saturday morning in the Tribune newspaper. This week's column is called Ram Bharose at the Kumbh, and I start my column by saying that 38 people have very unfortunately been killed or have died at the Mauni Amavasya Stampede, a stampede that took place in the early hours on the 29th of January, which is the sacred moment when the Mauni Amavasya, according to the Hindu horoscope, had taken place, when the planetary sort of arrangements had come together. Now, there was a stampede that took place. A judicial inquiry has been set up. So 31 people died that night at the Sangam Nose, and another 7 people were killed in the neighboring village of Prayagraj called Jhusi. That was a smaller stampede, but similarly, when thousands and thousands and thousands of people were trying to take a dip in the Ganga, both in Prayagraj. Of course, there was the Sangam, the confluence of the 3 rivers, and in Jhusi, where the Ganga is. And obviously, arrangements were not enough. Perhaps you can argue that there are so many millions of people and that arrangements can never be enough. I don't buy that theory, dear viewer, but we can have a discussion on that if you like. Anyway, 38 people have very unfortunately lost their lives. Now, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has condoled. He has reassured the people that arrangements will be put into place. The UP administration, Yogi Adityanath's administration, has also gotten into the act, and several measures are being implemented. The next big Shahi Snan is on Basant Panchami Day, which is either on the 2nd or the 3rd, depending on the planetary arrangements. Then there will be, over the next few weeks, another couple of Shahi Snans. So this column of mine talks about what is it about the people of India, millions of people who come with this incredible devotion in their hearts, in their minds, in their bodies, and they make the journey to the Kumbh Mela every 4 years. And now this year, this Mahakumbh that's taking place once in 144 years. And dear viewer, I'd like to say right from the start that I was there. I haven't said this in my column at the Tribune, but I did go there for a day or so, and I saw for myself how things are at the Kumbh. I was only there for a day, but it was on that day, this past Monday, that the Home Minister Amit Shah, with his wife, accompanied by Yogi Adityanath, came to take a dip in the sacred waters. And because he was there, because you know, he is one of the most protected men in the country, the security measures that had been implemented were so tight. You would have asked yourself, why have 17 bridges across the Ganga been shut down? Is it because Amit Shah and his wife and Yogi Adityanath had come to the Kumbh to pay their respects? Now, let me just describe to you very quickly. You have the Ganga that's flowing, that comes from one side, the Yamuna from the other, and like I said earlier, the mythical Saraswati, the 3rd river. But from Allahabad or from Prayagraj, as you walk from, you know, whether it's the railway station and your sadhan, your vehicle will leave you at a spot, and after that you have to just walk. So millions of people are just walking together very calmly, very slowly. And then you have to walk on the pontoon bridges. These are sort of temporary structures that are put up And on top of that, on top of the pontoon bridges, is sort of this wooden bridge that is sort of built to facilitate the pilgrims who are walking from the town, from the city across the Ganga onto the sands, on which the tents have been put up. This is the Kumbh city. So you walk over the bridges, and that's the only access to the town. Now, as a result of that visit of the Home Minister, Mr. Amit Shah, and his wife, and the UP Chief Minister, 17 of those bridges were shut that day. So from the tip of the Sangam nose, as it's called, where the confluence of these rivers is, all the way across, at least 4 or 5 kilometers, up to the 18th bridge and the 19th bridge, back to the city, the bridges were all shut down in the name of security. And I saw for myself how children, old men, old women, elderly women, women with children, pleaded with the security and said, let us cross. We need to get back. Our children are tired, thirsty, older people. But of course, upar se aadesh aaya hai. That's what the policeman said. And there was no questioning of opening any bridge. Now, as a result of this stampede in which 38 people, 31 at Prayagraj and 7 at Jyoti, 38 people have been killed, the new measures that are being implemented are that all the bridges will remain open, and that until the day of the Shahi Snan, when again all the akhadas send their sadhus, whether it's the Naga sadhus or the other sadhus, these bridges, that there will be no VIP. And this VIP culture that is being criticized by a lot of the opposition parties, Akhilesh Yadav, the Samajwadi Party leader, he has said that he doesn't believe that only 31 people were killed that early morning on the Moni Amavasya. Rahul Gandhi, the Congress leader, has said that he has slammed the VIP culture. And well, anyway, now there is a judicial inquiry. But I would urge you, dear viewer, and I know many of you here in the north, in Punjab and elsewhere in North India, some of you have cancelled your tickets to Prayagraj. You're not going there anymore because you're afraid of the arrangements that are taking place, that have been put into place. But let me just point to the millions of other devotees. And if you go to the nearest railway station in your town, and you will see that a lot of these Kumbh specials, trains that packed with people, men, women, children, brimming with human beings with pure devotion in their hearts. And that is quite, that is a spectacle that is so deeply humbling, to think that thousands of people with this devotion for the Mother Ganga, Jai Ma Gange is a slogan that you hear again and again and again. And then you wonder, why is it that our elected representatives cannot have better arrangements for the people of our country? And yet I will tell you, dear viewer, if you look at the political scenario, both in Prayagraj, in which several people are asking these questions, what is it about the people of UP, of Uttar Pradesh, who again and again elect the same people who do not, or may not, or perhaps do not, and this is an example of that, who don't provide you with the best arrangements that elected representatives should. After all, that's what they're there for, to look after the people who have elected them. And my answer to that is that the reason that your own MLAs or your own members of parliament take you for granted, dear viewer, is because actually there is no alternative. And the reason there is no alternative, whether in Uttar Pradesh or in large other parts of the country, is because the opposition parties do not work hard enough. They are not there to lend a shoulder in your deepest moments of despair and tragedy. And I'm referring to the COVID years, barely 5 years ago, when people in Uttar Pradesh fell like flies in this corona pandemic, in the COVID pandemic. Thousands and thousands of people were killed. A lot of these bodies were buried in the same sands on the Kumbh, on the banks of the Ganga, where the Kumbh is right now being celebrated. In my visit to Prayagraj, it was a thought that crossed my mind. I remembered pictures of dogs poking their noses in these sands because the bodies were there barely a few feet below. And the reason that these bodies were also thrown into the river, into the mighty Ganga, the same Ganga that we are also devoted to and that we pray to, the same Ganga that we celebrate at the Kumbh this year. Only 5 years ago, dear viewer, a lot of people, especially in Uttar Pradesh, where the river runs by their villages, slipped their dead bodies who had died from COVID into the river. And again, some of these sands in Prayagraj and elsewhere in North India, especially along the mighty river, families buried their loved ones in these sands. And today, there is a spectacle of joy, of devotion, of fulfillment. And guess what? The VHP leader, the Vishwa Hindu Parishad leader, Alok Kumar, said that it was the will of God that 31 people had been killed that Mauni Amavasya night when the tragedy took place. But let me come back to the political argument that I'm trying to make, which is that even if politicians take you for granted, and even if you elect them again and again, which is what the people of Uttar Pradesh did to the BJP, to Yogi Adityanath's BJP in 2022, barely a year after COVID. They did not elect the Samajwadi Party back to power. The Samajwadi Party got 111 seats. The Yogi Adityanath's BJP got 255 seats. That's more than 100 seats. Now you should ask yourself, dear viewer, why is it that the people of UP did that? And my answer is that neither the Congress nor the Samajwadi Party worked hard enough. They were not there when the people were dying, when families were burying or cremating their loved ones. They had escaped these awful situations in Uttar Pradesh where they want people to elect them. They had escaped to Delhi and some had even escaped to London. And that's why nobody trusts the person who is not there by your side in times of trouble, in times of distress. And whether we like it or not, dear viewer, some of us may not like the fact that the Kumbh Mela doesn't have the arrangements that we think it should have. But the reason we have to come to terms with what's happening in our country is because the opposition is not just weak. It's weak because it doesn't want to work hard enough. And that's what you see in Delhi, especially with the Congress party. The Aam Aadmi Party, which is the ruling party in Delhi, is fighting a bitter battle with the BJP and is trying to win back power in Delhi. It's been in power for 3 terms already. But look at the Congress party, Rahul Gandhi's party. These days we see that there is this bitter argument going on between the Aam Aadmi Party and the BJP over the quality of the Yamuna water. So here is the Ganga on the one side in Prayagraj, which is where so much agony is on display because of what's going on in terms of the deaths that have taken place. And on the other hand is the Yamuna. So these holy rivers, the churning in these holy rivers in North India is very much there to see. So you had this argument between Kejriwal, who has accused the BJP, especially Haryana, where the BJP rules, of sending poisoned water to Delhi. That argument is now in the court of the Election Commission. And that will play itself out over the next few days. But guess what Rahul Gandhi does? When confronted with this argument, this young man or this leader of the Congress party takes a boat, goes to the Yamuna, which is filthy, gets hold of a water activist, sits on a boat with him, and undertakes this journey through this nala, through this river, which is really a nala. And this activist is telling him about how bad things are. Now, instead of going to the court of the people, door to door, telling the people what's wrong with your city, arguing with them, discussing with them, he's behaving like like he's from an NGO. Nothing wrong with NGOs. They do a lot of very good work. But if Rahul Gandhi is a politician, then he has to fight the political battle. And that, dear viewer, is the problem. That we can all complain sitting in our homes about how bad things are, but until we get out and fight the battle or raise our voices in protest, very little is going to change. I'm going to end this video here, but I would like to know what you think about it. And I do hope that you will continue to read the Tribune newspaper like you have been all these years, and continue to watch all the properties that come out from the stable of the Tribune. I would also encourage you to follow our social media handles and to subscribe to the YouTube channel of the Tribune. Thank you so much for watching.